What's the best book you've ever read? And would recommend first-timers to the UN?
Best book I've ever read. I read a lot of books while I was in law school and other. Best book I've ever read. I read a lot of books, and I think I should rephrase the question a little bit. Like, what is the book that made the most impact on me? And it's not a book that I read in law school. It's actually a book that I read recently, and when I talk about recently, it is 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. Recommended by my little brother, and while I was down and was really questioning my ability, was very self-aware, well, not self-aware, but really negative about myself, pessimistic, twisted now. I was very pessimistic, and he recommended one book, and I read it. I bought it, and I read it like from cover to cover in like 2 hours, and I was sold. I was like, wow, this is a very amazing book. And I recommend the book to other people that have been through a similar situation, but also people are trying to find some balance, some guidelines for their lives. Actually, I was in an airplane. I was flying to where I was flying. I think I was flying to Canada. So Amsterdam, Vancouver, and I had a couple of books with me, and this book was one of them. And so the flight attendant came in to ask, well, what do you want to drink? So I was like, well, I have a water, like sparkling water, and she was like, oh, these are nice books. One was the one book with Richard Branson. Like, oh, I love this guy. So I was, yeah, I like this book, and all of a sudden, like, she asked me, oh, what is this book? What is this about? So I told her the whole book, and I knew that she had to like help other people as well, because other people were thirsty and looking at me like, dude, like I'm thirsty. Like, don't keep this flight attendant from doing her work. So I was very conscious of that. So I just gave her like 5 or 10 seconds rundown of the book, and she was sold. So it's like, oh, I should make a copy of that book, or like be able to. I should take down the title of it. So this book is The Four Agreements by Ruiz, and this book is amazing. It basically tells you like why it is very important to make these 4 agreements with yourself, to be able to live a free life, free of judgment, and making sure that you get the most out of it. So I am not going to spoilers. There are only 4 agreements. I read the book from cover to cover in 2 hours, meaning that you can do it too, or you can go on YouTube and Google it, and you'll get a gist of it. But I definitely recommend you to read the book. There are several books that came after it, The Fifth Agreement, and other books as well. Very interesting, but definitely start with The Four Agreements. I loved it, and that book has actually caused me to, not caused, but like it made me start loving to read. So I started with that book, and then I bought another book. So Amazon, like 2017, like it made a lot of money out of me. Like I spend, I don't know, every month. Yeah, after every month. So like I read 4 books a month. So then I went on to Amazon. I didn't have like a reading list, or I wasn't part of a book club. I just read 4 books, and I'm like, oh, now my interest is in this, so I should check if there's any great books on this. So it's very ad hoc, and so I ordered the books, and they came in, and I read them. And it all started with The Four Agreements, and so I definitely recommend you to others to read that book. And it's a book that I like to give away as well. So I gave away the book like to a lot of people, and I always with a personal message in it, like hoping that it would help them as it helped me. And to close off this whole conversation is that in the airplane, so while this flight attendant was done serving people, I walked unintentionally though, like I think I had to go to the bathroom, and she came up to like, well, can you explain a little bit about this book? So I had a conversation with her and other flight attendants about like what caused me to read this book, how it helped me, and all of a sudden we had a very good conversation about judgment, about doing your best, not taking things personally, being careful with the words that you pick. It was a very good conversation, and I think the funny thing is that like we had a very good conversation. I think like it's like a 9 or 10 hour flight. We talked for the most of it. So they had to step out, of course, to help people, but we talked for the most part of it. And then before we deboarded the plane, I realized that she forgot to take a photo of the cover of the book. So she quickly took a photo of the cover of the book, and then all the colleagues could take a photo of the cover of the book as well. So hopefully, right now, while we're all in quarantine and the airplane industry is taking a really big hit, shout out to the KLM flight attendants that were on that flight, but also like in general, all flight attendants. These are very hard times, and I hope that those that took a photo of that book have found value in it. So yeah, the Four Agreements, that was the best book that I've ever read. And yeah, in terms of the books that you read before going to the UN, like yeah, I think that's a very good book to start with, actually. Not just how to negotiate in a UN context or other books that are about negotiations, advocacy, lobbying, and everything else. But I think a book like that would be a very good starter to like center yourself a little bit. Well, not a little bit. Like center yourself first before reading other books. Yeah, and then there's several, like dozens of books that I would recommend people to read before going to the UN. But that is, if I go through that, this would be like an hour and a half video, and probably like a one large, big, lengthy book report. So I'm not going to do that, into that.